All right, so today's Game Pass review is actually a review of a game that's been out for a couple of years now and has been on EA Play. But EA Play was just merged with Game Pass Ultimate, and so now I therefore have access to it. I never intended on buying Star Wars Battlefront 2. It had a lot of bad press when it came out. And I don't mean like from gaming media, but from gamers themselves. The whole loot box situation, the paywalls to characters and such, the complete bugginess and glitchiness of it in general. The game was marred in controversy when it first released, and so I was never going to pay money for it. Being that it's been added to Game Pass, I thought I'd give it a shot, and honestly, I've been quite surprised with it. Um, First of all, the bugs and glitches and other issues that it seems to have had, I feel like those were worked out. Um, I don't really notice anything regarding loot boxes or anything like that, but I'm just playing it to play it and unlock whatever I unlock. I'm not really hardcore getting into this, but I've put some time into it and decided that, it's worth a play if you have Game Pass Ultimate with the EA Play added to it. I have not played the single player campaign. This is all about the multiplayer for me. There is a good variety of multiplayer game types. My favorites are Supremacy, which is basically kind of like a tug of war. I'll go into a little more detail with that in a minute. And also Galactic Assault, I believe it's called, which is basically it plays out these scenarios that are either from the films or related to scenes in the films. Um, and basically, you'll have like the defending team and the assaulting team or attacking team, and basically the attacking team or something will have like the objective of protecting a walker as it makes its way toward a base, and then the walker getting so much time to attack and destroy the base or something along those lines. There's usually like multiple smaller objectives along the way, but that's your primary goal. That's quite a bit of fun. I do find that I don't enjoy playing defense as much as attacking, but that's probably pretty natural. The other game type I talked about, Supremacy, as a tug of war. Basically, imagine there are three like two modes of gameplay. Um, you start as like a ground battle, and you're trying to take out certain objectives and take out troop transports or whatever. However, if the opposing team manages to survive the time and get to those troop transports, they come up to your capital ship. There, they will be faced with several lines of objectives. Break through these doorways, destroy these generators, whatever. And once they're able to do that, they win. They blow up your ship. However, if you're able to fend them off, it sends the battle back down to the ground. I played one of these. I swear it lasted for almost an hour, going back and forth, back and forth, and it's actually quite fun. Definitely have to invest some time in it for sure, but it is a lot of fun. It's a neat way to play multiplayer versus just your typical team deathmatch. Get as many kills as possible. It actually makes it so that even if you are losing, it's a little bit more fun. On top of that, you have customizable character classes, and then of course your heroes and your vehicles and things like that. You have your assault and infiltrator and specialist and heavy. I think a support or some. I think there's support or whatever the equivalent is. Primarily, I play assault, but I'm also newer to this game. But it's kind of neat because in all these classes, including the vehicles, you have these unlockable cards that you equip to the character or vehicle class, and those are universal to all like whatever team you happen to be playing on for the scenario. So in my assault class, for instance, I might have a buff that my health regenerates quicker, or it changes out one of my ability slots for an ion grenade, or things like that. And you can upgrade these things to make them perform better. And it's actually really cool. It gives gives you a little bit more invested in the characters you're playing in multiplayer and putting time into them to make them better. And so a typical assault class doesn't have to just be cannon fodder. They can actually be quite effective. There are times where I have an option to play a purchasable hero character, and I choose not to because my assault character is better ranked than they are or more effective in certain ways. That being said, it's also really fun to get heroes. Um, Vehicles, of course, there's different levels of them. They're useful on different types of maps. And then, of course, you have your force wielders with lightsabers and things like that. Or then you also have characters. I actually really like Leia, and she doesn't carry a lightsaber or anything, but she's like kind of like a badass with like her pistol. And when you choose her, not only is her pistol like and the abilities associated with really good, but like her secondary fire with the pistol is very strong. She's a really cool character to play. A lot of fun if you're not interested in necessarily playing somebody who's jumping around with a lightsaber. That I've had a little bit more tough a time with, and this might just be me. What I've found is that it is definitely a little bit bigger learning curve. Like you don't just get the lightsabers and suddenly you're the best player on the map. Um, you certainly can grab a few kills pretty quickly coming up on people with lightsabers, but then suddenly you have everyone's fire focused on you, and it becomes pretty tough. You do have the ability to block weapons fire, but again, once there's so much coming at you, especially if you haven't been able to level this character very much because you don't get access to them all the time. Because the way it works is that your performance in the games gives you battle points to spend to purchase a hero character to use in the battlefield. And there are limits to how many of those characters that are allowed on the battlefield at the same time. I'm pretty sure one of each type of hero. So if somebody has General Grievous already, you can't play General Grievous. And there are players, it seems like, who rack up a lot of points, and then that's all they do. They go to the heroes. They're really good, too. That's the other side. So the downsides here are, if you aren't extremely experienced with them, they can be very tough to play. So you need you definitely need the experience and to perfect the character. If you're playing against them, somehow it always seems the guys that are playing them on their team are really good with them or half decent. And I feel like it's one of those things where once you become half decent, it's very tough to be killed. So I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad design on the game's part, but on my own personal experience with the game, I don't enjoy playing as the lightsaber wielders, and I don't enjoy playing against them very much. But that could just be, get good. I might just need to have more experience. Graphics wise, here's the thing. I'm playing this on the Xbox Series X. I never played it on any other console before, so I don't know how this game performs on the One X or the One S or the base Xbox One, which I would assume it's not nearly as good on there. The One X could perform fairly well. I don't know. I haven't played it on there. I will say on the Series X, it runs what feels like a nice, smooth, locked 60 frames. Or I won't say locked because it may not be. But I do not notice, even in heavy gameplay on the battlefield, I do not notice a slowdown. I have not noticed any frame drops yet. The graphical effects are very good. It's very big battlefields, a lot of characters, a lot of effects going on. The lighting looks really good. Some of my favorite places to play are any of the forest maps. Indoor is one I really like. And then, I can't remember the other one. It's not Geonosis, but it is a prequel era planet. Some of the screenshots here toward the end show it. But anywhere that's like a forest or jungle type planet is very cool. But even on the others, there's definitely the draw distance and the lighting effects and dust in the air, all these different things. It looks very good. Up close on characters looks very good. So I believe this game was 1X enhanced, and then of course just playing on the Series X, obviously things like frame rate and resolution are going to perform that much better. from what I can tell, and it's not marked as an X, a Series X or S enhanced game. But if it ever does get that kind of enhancement, boy, this game will really shine because it's already very, very good as it is in its current state, graphically, visuals, performance wise. I really have no complaints about it. I'm very surprised. Again, everything I'd heard about this game for the most part was pretty negative, except for I did hear later on they had managed to do some fixes and change some things with loot boxes, I believe. Again, none of this has become anything that has hindered my enjoyment of the game. I didn't play it early on. I totally understand any frustration that anybody had at that point because from what I heard and seen, it was pretty terrible. It was one of the worst game launches, one of the worst scams with loot boxes, all that sort of thing. It seems like at this point you can, for the most part, unlock characters and appearances and things like that through progression. You do rack up this currency that you can then use to unlock new appearance sets for your characters. And I've done that with a few of them myself. A complaint I will have, I don't have a whole lot of complaints with this game, but I did play the Starfighter, I believe it's the Starfighter Assault. But in general, anything where you're flying a vehicle has really weird controls. I did go flip them, and that made it a little bit better. But like for instance, it had it so your left thumbstick was your throttle, and your right thumbstick was your controls, and also your left thumbstick would control your basically your spin. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry. So I turned that off and I flipped the controls. I understand that because of flight, in most flight situations they have the throttle on the left hand side, that's probably why they did that. But I've never understood that in video games, because in video games your left thumbstick is almost always your directional control and your right thumbstick is almost always something like camera control or throttle or whatever it is. It makes more sense since you're not using the triggers in this case. Once I did that, it got a little bit better, but flight just seems really strange in this game. I'm interested in playing Star Wars Squadrons at some point, and I'm worried that it uses similar control schemes. I'm hoping it doesn't. But anyways, that bothered me a little bit. Again, it's one of those things that probably enough playtime and it would go away, but I still don't think... It's just a general feel to the flight controls in this game are not that great. Outside of that, like I said, I have very few problems with this game. I think it's very fun. I've been recently playing, or I had recently been playing the original Star Wars Battlefront, like the original Xbox one. I played backwards compatible. And I was playing that split screen with my brother. We were actually having a lot of fun. This plays pretty similar to that, only it looks way better, a lot more options, and obviously I can play it with other people instead of playing against AI or split screen. It's very nice to actually play on a team of 20v20 in a game like this with these big battles. It feels like you're in the Star Wars universe. So anyways, this is my review of Star Wars Battlefront 2 on Game Pass Ultimate Series X. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, I definitely suggest trying it out. It may not be for everybody. If you don't have Game Pass Ultimate, I would not suggest purchasing this game. There's probably better multiplayer options out there to pay for.